Well, thank you so much. I figured there was no better way to celebrate my birthday than to talking to one of our longest friends here at XFL NewsHub and CFL NewsHub, Josh Davis. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Happy birthday.
Thank you. So we're talking Elf today. I have a little MLFB I want to talk to you about at the end. What has been your reaction to Elf so far, the European League of Football going on overseas?
Well, it's filling the gap that was left by the Spring League. And you got to, if you want to watch these things, you got to go into it knowing that this is brand new. We're going into week 3. You can't go into it thinking that it's going to be a finished product. The offensive lines were better the second week. First week, the quarterbacks were just running for their lives. It still happened that way in the second week. But that being said, the guys that are supposed to be studs are studs. I mean, we're watching Madre London just take it over 624 yards in 2 weeks and 7 touchdowns. It's incredible. Defenses are playing well, even though there's a lot of high scoring games. You're still seeing plays. Teams is big right now in that league, and everything will come together as the league goes on.
People, obviously have been asking, wanting some coverage of this. Is this a gimmick league? Is this weird rules and stuff? Or this is pretty much American football that people are expecting just in a different country, right?
Yeah, no, this is, they play by the NFL rules. The only thing that they have not implemented as of yet 100% is replay. Everything else is NFL rules. So kickoffs are the same as the NFL, although I'll tell you, you're getting a lot more returns because they're kicking it short. I don't know if that's purposely done. I would assume that the guys over there got good legs. So, I don't know if that's purposely done or what. But, no, NFL rules, there's no gimmicks. It's not like anything that we've seen thus far. Even with the Spring League, you could only rush a certain amount of players. So that's not the case here.
Yeah, I think it's a welcome relief. The Spring League got a little gimmicky with the overtime rules, with the voting, obviously fan control football and all of that. How have you felt? Obviously, you've been covering it for XFL NewsHub, writing articles, live tweeting the games. I've seen all that. What has been the reaction that you've seen from your listeners, readership, whatever, people that follow you?
The biggest thing is the paywall. If we could figure out a way around the paywall, there would be a lot more viewership. But they've got to do what they've got to do over there at the ELF. And but when people are watching the games, they are really happy with what they're seeing because it is a really good product. It's getting better. Like I said before, the offensive lines were not very good week 1. They were a little bit better week 2, but that's something that's to be expected. You've got 5 guys that have never played together. You would assume anyway, maybe a different, a lot of the guys that play for the Panthers have been together and some of those other teams that have, but for the most part, these guys have got to mesh. They've got to gel, and that's going to take some weeks, and it's a brand new league. Everybody's getting their footing. You just stick around. Everybody that I've noticed that has been watching the game seems to be pretty happy with everything that's going on so far.
So how many different teams do we have and where are they located?
Predominantly Germany. There's 8 of them. You've got Germany, Spain, Poland.
Did they have a long ramp up for the season? I know, obviously with the Spring League, it was they hit the ground a week or two at, camps, and then they started. Did these guys have a lot of time yet? Or are they really getting things going on their feet while on the field?
They really only had a couple of weeks to get real ready. I mean, they had the guys that were in country could work out together, but travel restrictions at the time. Not a lot of the American players could get over there and do exactly what they needed to do to get ready. But they only had a few weeks to go. There was a scrimmage or two, but other than that, it was pretty much hitting the ground running.
It's tough. I get what you're saying with the paywall and the ability to watch it. We're also trying to, one of our listeners, I'm sure, Max, whatever, he's sending us here's the illegal stream. You can watch it. But it's we're trying to support this, right? So, It's hard because I think so many people are conditioned to like, I turn on TV, Monday Night Football's on. I mean, are we at an age where people are used to watching these games? I know obviously mutual friend Vince with All Football Scout, he covers a lot of this stuff too. We're used to watching things online. Is that still too hard for the common man and woman or child to watch these games?
No, I'll tell you, if you do end up paying for it, they've got a bunch of different levels of what you can get. It's well worth it to me. I mean, you get to watch the games is right there. You can get English audio. Sometimes week one, they only had one game per day that was actually called. That was a little weird to watch a game that you didn't have any commentary at all. But it still transitioned well because it was football and you knew the rules going in. If it was something where you didn't know about the rules, but they're playing NFL rules, so it's something that we all can relate to when we watch it. It's a familiar product. They offer so much, even when you just do the game by game, which is only about $5 to get to, and it's right there on their homepage. European League. Football. It's right there on their homepage. You can click on the game, you can click on what audio you want, and it'll come up and it'll immediately, right after the game is over, it'll start showing you the highlights from the game. So even if you got in there a little bit late and didn't see some of the stuff that happened early, they get right into the highlights right after the game. And then they've come up with live, they keep up with live stats going on throughout the game. You can see exactly what's going on. They're getting a little bit better with that. The stats were slow going, and I talked to a couple of guys from there. Christopher Hahn's one of them. A shout out to him that I talked to week one. He said, we're going to be a little slow coming out of the gate with the stats, but as we go on, it's going to be a whole lot easier and a whole lot better and a whole lot faster. So, and I can already tell a difference. They also offer a full game book. Every single thing you want to know about what happened in the game, how many times they ran the ball on third down. That's how deep this stuff goes. Defensive stats, offensive stats, play-by-play, drive-by-drive, whatever you want. It's downloadable. It's a PDF. It's real easy to get to. Everything you missed about the Spring League is right there. The ELF has it.
Is there a large support staff that they have working doing all these things? I know you've talked to some of the people over there, but I mean, are we aware of how large the team is working on this?
The way that it comes about, though, is there is a lot of people that are in the middle of this trying to get this thing going. I mean, they've probably thrown a whole lot at this to get this right year one, and so far, I think they're being successful, and I think they're only going to be better as it goes. I can't really tell exactly how many people there are working for them. I can tell you they have a lot of media people. Each team is accurately. Represented on social media and online. There's I just mentioned him a minute ago, Han. He was just talking about there are articles every day on the website. So there are a lot of guys putting in a whole lot of work for this to get this thing going.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is we talk about these leagues, man control football, spring league, XFL, whatever, USFL. It's like you got one shot to make it work, right? We got the big ramp up, all the media stuff. Have they, for being overseas, have they done a good enough job of penetrating? Is America even on their radar, really trying to penetrate into, or are they more focused on the European viewership and then like anything over here is a bonus?
They're really focusing everything in Europe. They are throwing things. Some of the teams will tweet in their language and then we'll throw out another tweet in English saying the same thing, or they'll combine it. They're really focused on getting off the ground there in Europe because, I mean, that's where the tickets are going to be. That's where they can watch it on television. That's where really their viewership is going to be there for the most part. But they're not leaving us in the States, out to dry. They are giving us the English, audio. They have at least one person for these games that is an American voice. It's not somebody so far that's got an accent that we can't understand. These guys are really focused on where they are, but they also know that this is American style football with NFL rules. We've got to pay attention to America as well.
Obviously it's on streaming for us. Is this on traditional TV over in Europe?
They have a couple couple of different types of contracts with their broadcasting over there, but it is on TV there.
I mean, it feels like, and obviously we're watching from the outside with a little bit of meat given to us, but it does feel like an XFL of sort in Europe, right? I mean, traditional spring football played. I mean, is that is their goal just to literally be that spring football alternative? Are they looking to compete? I mean, it's so weird over there because it's not like they're competing with the NFL. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, the one thing that they are competing with is the NFL is planning to go to Germany. They have these games in England. They don't want any part of that. They're well aware right now that they are not the NFL, and they don't want to be in competition with that because, anybody that tries to do that will lose. They have found their niche. A lot of leagues in Europe play during this time of the year. There's a lot. I can't keep track of how many leagues there are over there right now playing at this moment. Now they're taking they're taking a prime time of the year for them to get out there and play football, and they know that they're being noticed now where they wouldn't be if they were playing in the fall.
They're competing against other traditional football leagues right now, or other like soccer leagues.
No, traditional American football leagues over there. But I'll tell you, the thing that makes the difference is that there's a whole lot more money behind the ELF than there is any of the other leagues. Even the German football league, they're probably number 2 on the list over there. I'm not real sure. Poland has a monster program over there as well. But there's just a lot more that has gone into the ELF, and a lot more. I guess you'd say there's just a lot more media put into it to get more eyes on it, and they have really drawn from the strongest talent over there in Europe.
In terms of the money and influence and things behind it, is there anything notable in terms of that, in terms of ownership or funding?
Not really. I mean, these teams are I feel like that they are owned by the league. At least starting out. I don't know 100% how that's done. I do know that all these teams have taken names from World League of American Football or NFL Europe, however you want to take it, resurrected names that are familiar. Everything is in promotion right now. Like, they're just making sure that they're getting their product in front of as many eyes as possible, and so far they're being successful with that. So.
In terms of the players involved, are we attracting maybe out of the realm American players over there? Is there anyone that the traditional American football fan would know, or are these mostly European grown talent?
Mostly European grown talent with some recognizable names. Darius Robinson is one of the names that has he's played in a few bounced around the NFL a little bit. Madre London is a name that people will recognize from recent if they paid any attention to the Spring League or the FCF, Fan Control Football. He was in both leagues, although he didn't do a whole lot in FCF. That's not his fault. The fans kind of screwed that one up. We're seeing those guys. Darius Robinson is playing special teams. I had a conversation with somebody on Twitter the other day about how important special teams is. He scored 2 touchdowns on special teams, and he's a cornerback. He's also got an interception age return for a touchdown. Madre London, like I said, the running back, he's 624 yards in 2 games with 7 touchdowns. You've got a lot of the quarterbacks, Jacob O'Connor, some of the other guys, Zach Edwards. He's the guy that's from America. So there are some American players with names that you would recognize. There's also some people from the Japanese game in this that you're going to recognize if you paid attention to the Spring League with Omi, my dude there. He's in there, and he's not doing bad. He's got a few catches and a touchdown. So, these guys are, but a lot of the plays are being made by guys that are homegrown talent because they're already a lot more familiar with what's going on that field, and they're not really having to acclimate to anything over there because it's just natural to them.
Is this something where in a different year when there wasn't such travel restrictions with COVID and everything that maybe they would have attracted more players? I mean, is this a good start? And would you see, potentially this time next year, as opposed to the USFL or whatever here, that players would be traveling over there to go play?
I actually think if we're going to a point in time with less travel restrictions, with less COVID regulations, we may not see as many American players over there. They're going to be competing with leagues that had been taking time off, like the CFL last year, like the XFL. Some of those guys, some of those American guys would be in the XFL this year, no doubt. I've said this before. Everything that's playing this spring right now has got a talent level that we may never see again. You've got guys that played in the NFL on indoor football leagues right now. Indoor football teams right now. You got a guy with the skill set that I keep bringing his name up, but he's just proving, that situation determines success more than talent does. But Madre London, he would not be playing overseas if we had an XFL. Maybe not even if we had anything that stopped guys that came out of school when he did from going to pro days and stuff. He may be in the NFL if he had a better opportunity. If we didn't have COVID, so a lot of these guys could still be over there. But I would say that come next year, depending on how they structure their contracts there, if those guys sign 2-year deals, I would say that once restrictions get going or get taken away and a whole lot less COVID going on, that you may not see as many recognizable American names, but you will see some because there will be opportunity.
But you think because right now there's such a vacuum for places for these players to go, that you think that's why a lot of them have gone over there?
Yeah, there's not that much going on right now. The CFL has not started yet. The spring league was about it for springtime for us right now. We really don't know what's going on exactly with the XFL. We got the USFL coming up next year. So there are a lot more opportunities to play American football in the States, where it's, viewership is king. We got, just the amount of people that watch football here just outnumbers everybody else. So, most people would want to play here. But there'll be a lot of American players over there. There's always a lot of American players playing in European leagues, not just the ELF.
How is the quarterback play over there? Because I know sometimes when you get these startup leagues like the XFL, it takes a little while, right? Because there's only so many quarterbacks and the teams, and even it's like a drop down from the NFL. What's the quarterback play been like so far in the ELF?
It's real hard to judge at this moment. Guys like Zach Edwards, man, he was running for his life in week 1, but he was slinging it off schedule throws and hitting his target. I would say around week 4 or 5, you'll really be able to understand what these quarterbacks can do, because by then the offensive lines will have meshed. They would have gotten really used to the playbook. You're not seeing a whole lot of issues with guys being real inaccurate. Of course you're going to see it, but quarterback play is not something that is lacking there, because these guys are really being pushed into making plays like they haven't in any other league, like I said, because they've just been running around because they've always got guys in their face. So it's real hard to judge at this point exactly how good the quarterback play is. But so far, there's been a lot of big numbers come out.
In terms of, I'm like rapid firing. Like I got one. In terms of pay, right? Player pay obviously been a big issue with spring league. Fan control football didn't pay they paid, but it wasn't the best. How's the compensation for the players over there?
It's a little bit. It's in between Arena League football and the XFL. It's right smack in between. One thing that they definitely don't have to worry about is room and board. They don't have to worry about insurance. The teams pay all that. Travel, actually, they pay that too. But for the players there, it's right smack in the middle between the IFL right now, which is top dog in the Arena Leagues, and what guys are getting paid in the XFL.
But still better than either spring league or fan control football, right?
Oh yeah, most definitely better than both of those.
And then finally, so we're going into week 3 here, right? This weekend, as we record. How many weeks? What's the schedule like the rest of the season?
The 12-week regular season, each team gets 2 byes.
And then in the traditional playoffs.
Yes.
Um, if you had to sum up and elevator pitch the ELF for someone that was curious about football, I always say, like, what's your 10-second pitch or 15-second? What would be your pitch be for the ELF?
You've never seen anything like it. Like this looks like American football that we know, but there is that little bit of European style behind it. The games, the way that they're played, the way the fans interact is a whole lot like they do at soccer games over in Europe. It's kind of a mess between the two, but it is 100% American football. So you're going to know what you're watching. You don't have to worry about that. Just like you would with some of the other leagues that have been coming around here lately. There's NFL rules. It's a good brand of football to watch, and it's a good way to get to be fans of new teams and new players and learn more about how the world plays American football, because there's so much going on around the world that most people don't even know about.
Last question for you today so we talked on the show about MLFB and, obviously the update. We were talking off camera last night about the update they had about the USFL. I know that they had at some point said they were going to play this summer. Now it looks like they're eyeing spring next year. Am I reading that right? Any updates on Major League Football?
It's looking like 2022, but the official word is that they have not shut the door on 2021. There still could be a 4-team demo league, demo season go on. Yeah. I'm hoping so because, I'll keep that part private, but I'm hoping that it comes about this year. But, that's the official, unofficial story is they've not completely shut the door on a 2021 season. This USFL announcement's kind of smacked them in the face a little bit, and that's why that statement came out the way that it did.
Why it took them by shock?
Yeah, they really weren't looking for that to happen. A lot of guys that they might have been eyeing as coaches or players would potentially turn them down because they wanted to play in the USFL.
I keep hearing this. They're playing summer. I'm like, okay, it's July. Like it's July 1st right now. Like, it's the same thing, and I know we talk a lot about that with the XFL people. They're like, well, come July, I'll know for sure. Or come August. I'm like, okay, well, we're July now. So at some point, when is that cutoff going to be for when it's actually feasible to get a football league going?
I'd say we're weeks away from there's got to be something solid. I'm talking about they better already be doing a whole lot more than what I know, and I talk to the CEO often. So we are weeks away from knowing whether or not this thing is going. Because if they don't make an announcement in the next couple of weeks, there's just no way for them to get even a 4-team demo off the ground and going. By the time the NFL starts. And that's not what they're wanting to do. They don't want to be opposite the NFL at all.
Yeah, and you're referring to MLFB, but the exact same thing could be said about the XFL, where and we both know, but this is, I mean, we're talking hours here where they would need to decide by, where you just get to a point where there's just simply not enough time. I mean, look how long the ELF did their rollout, over the last year. I mean, there gets to be a point where we're at a finite amount of time that we have to do something that just can't be done. So. Any other? This is great. Any other hot takes? Anything else that we didn't ask you about? I appreciate you with my barrage of ELF questions.
Hey, no problem. It's a brand new league. It's exciting. I'm excited to see some guys that it's proving my point. I've been saying for a long time. I know you've heard me say it. Plenty of people have. Everybody who's read what I've written or follows me on Twitter, you know that I'm about this worldwide talent, this global talent that we have out there in American football. And it's proven my point. There are so many talented guys over there. And I mentioned some American players, but you've got to really watch these games and get to know some of these guys because there is There's no reason except for maybe just the opportunity. I said it earlier, situations determine success more than talent does, and situations are slim in the NFL. So, and a lot of times they're dictated by who you know and not how good you are. So, I said it to somebody earlier this year. If it wasn't for Sean Payton being the offensive coordinator in Dallas, we wouldn't know who Tony Romo is. But they went to the same college, and that's why Romo was signed in Dallas. So, we wouldn't even know who Tony Romo was if it wasn't for that situation. So, you've got guys over there that have been playing this game their whole lives, and a lot of people here in the States don't know about how long they've been playing American football around the world. And this is a very, very good way. And the production level is high. It is very good, very well put out by the ELF. You won't be disappointed by what the product is on the field. I promise you that if you check it out. It's worth the $5. It's worth the 117 for the whole season and the whole get up. It's worth it to sit here and be able to even stream it on your computer or whatever device. It's worth putting in the money to watch these guys, because this is really, really good football, and this league should be around for a long time.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I understand and subscriptions and finances and stuff, but you got to pick something and ride with it. And if you want to support football, if you want to have football, I mean, to me, $120, whatever it is, no brainer. If that's something that you're into, obviously Fan Control Football was Twitch ad supported, but I just think at some point you go to a movie and get popcorn, it's $50. I mean, what are we debating here versus getting the whole season of football? So, Josh, really appreciate it. I'm going to put this interview really late in the show, and we'll get you to listen to the whole episode this week. And I really appreciate your time.
Thanks, man.
Awesome.